My name is Marcus, and the day I looked at my classroom list, I saw a name that made my hands shake. It was my sister, not stepsister, not half-sister, my real sister, Ava. The same girl who ruined my life years ago. The same girl who walked away and never looked back. And now, she was sitting in my classroom, looking at me like I was just another teacher. Like she didn't know me. Like I didn't exist. I stood at the front of the class, holding the paper tightly. My heart was beating fast. "Good morning, everyone," I said, trying to sound normal. The students looked at me, waiting. I started calling names. "Olivia, here. Ethan, here." Then I paused. My eyes stayed on that one name. Ava Turner. Silence. Then I heard a soft voice. "Here." I slowly looked up, and there she was, sitting in the third row. Her hair was shorter now. Her face looked older. But I knew her. I would never forget that face. She looked straight at me. No smile, no surprise, nothing, just cold. Like I was a stranger. In that moment, my mind went back 10 years. Back to the day everything broke. Ava was my younger sister. She was always the favorite. My parents loved her more. Everyone knew it. She was beautiful, smart, and confident. I was just quiet Marcus. The one who stayed in his room. The one who didn't cause trouble. The one no one really noticed. When we were kids, I tried to be close to her. I helped her with homework. I protected her at school. I even gave her my lunch money when she forgot hers. I thought, that's what a good brother does. But she never saw me that way. To her, I was just there. As we got older, things changed. Ava became more popular. She had many friends. She went to parties. She had attention from everyone. And I stayed the same, quiet, invisible. One night, when I was 17 and she was 15, everything changed. That night still lives in my head. I can't forget it. I was studying in my room when I heard loud voices downstairs. My parents were shouting. I went down to see what was happening. Ava was crying. My mom looked angry. My dad looked disappointed. "What's going on?" I asked. My mom turned to me. "Marcus, we need to talk." Her voice was serious. I felt nervous. Then Ava looked at me. Her eyes were full of tears, and she said something that broke me. "It was Marcus." I froze. "What?" I said. My dad stepped closer. "Ava says you took money from her bag." I felt like the ground disappeared under my feet. "What? No, I didn't take anything." Ava started crying harder. "I saw him near my bag earlier." My mom looked at me like I was a stranger. "Marcus, why would you do that?" "I didn't," I said loudly. "I swear." But no one listened. That night, my parents searched my room. They found money. Money I had been saving for months. But they didn't believe me. "This must be hers," my dad said. I kept shaking my head. "No, it's mine. I saved it." But Ava just cried and looked away. She didn't defend me. She didn't tell the truth. After that night, everything changed. My parents didn't trust me anymore. They watched me, They questioned me. They treated me like a criminal. And Ava? She went back to her normal life, laughing, smiling, living like nothing happened. I tried to talk to her once. I went to her room. Ava, please, tell them the truth, I said. She looked at me and shrugged. I don't know what you're talking about. My chest hurt. You know I didn't take anything. She stood up. Why are you blaming me? Maybe you just forgot. That was the moment I understood. She didn't care about me, not even a little. After that, I stopped trying. I stayed quiet. I finished school. And the day I turned 18, I left home. No goodbye, no hugs, nothing. I worked hard, very hard. I studied. I became a teacher. I built a new life, a life without my family. Years passed. I didn't see Ava again. I didn't hear from my parents. And honestly, I didn't want to. I told myself I moved on. I was stronger now. I didn't need them. But life has a strange way of bringing back the past, even when you don't want it. Now I stood in that classroom, looking at Ava, my sister, my student. The class continued. I tried to focus. Open your books to page 12, I said. My voice sounded calm, but inside, I was shaking. Every time I looked at her, my chest felt tight. She didn't look at me much. She just wrote in her notebook, like I was just a teacher, nothing more. After class ended, students started leaving. I stayed at my desk, pretending to check papers. I didn't want to talk to her, not yet, not like this. But then, I heard her voice. Mr. Turner. I looked up slowly. She was standing in front of me, so close, for the first time in years. Yes, I said. My voice was cold, just like hers. She looked at me for a moment. Then she said something simple. Do you want to talk? My heart stopped for a second. So many emotions came at once. Anger, pain, confusion. I stood up, looked her in the eyes, and said, No. Her face didn't change. She just nodded. Okay. Then she turned and walked away, just like she did years ago. I sat back down. My hands were shaking. I thought I was strong. I thought I was over it. But seeing her again broke something inside me. And deep down, I knew this was just the beginning, because this time, I wasn't the quiet boy anymore, and I wasn't going to stay silent. Not again. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual. I didn't sleep well. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face again. Ava, sitting in my classroom like nothing happened, like she didn't destroy my life once. I sat on the edge of my bed and took a deep breath. It's just a job, I told myself. She's just a student now. But even as I said it, I didn't believe it. When I walked into school, everything felt normal. Students talking, teachers drinking coffee, the sound of lockers closing. But inside me, nothing felt normal. I entered my classroom and placed my bag on the desk. I looked at the empty seats. Her seat, third row, near the window. I knew exactly where she would sit. I hated that I noticed. Students slowly came in, laughing, talking. Then she walked in. Ava. She didn't look at me this time. She just walked to her seat and sat down. Like yesterday, like always, calm, cold. "Good morning, class," I said. "Good morning, Mr. Turner," they replied. Everything sounded normal, but it wasn't. I started the lesson. I explained the topic. I wrote on the board. I asked questions. And then I made a mistake. "Ava, can you answer this?" The moment her name left my mouth, I regretted it. The class turned to her. She looked up slowly. "Yes," she said, standing up. Her voice was steady, confident. She answered perfectly, clear, smart, just like before. "Good," I said quietly. She sat down again. No smile, no emotion. But the class noticed something. I could feel it. A strange tension in the room. Maybe it was just in my head. Or maybe it wasn't. After class, one of the students came to me. Her name was Megan. "Mr. Turner," she said, "are you okay?" I looked at her, surprised. "Why?" She hesitated. "You looked uncomfortable." I forced a small smile. "I'm fine, just tired." She nodded, but I could tell. She didn't fully believe me. The days passed, but things didn't get easier. They got worse. Ava was always quiet in class, but she was different outside. I saw her laughing with other students, talking, smiling. Just like before, like she had no problems, like she had no past. One afternoon, I was walking in the hallway when I heard her voice. "She's so strict, right?" a student said. Then Ava laughed softly. "She's not that bad," Ava replied. I stopped walking. My chest felt tight. She? Were they talking about me? I slowly turned the corner. They were standing there, Ava and two other girls. They saw me. The girls quickly went quiet. Ava looked at me. For a second, there was something in her eyes. Then it disappeared. "Hello, Mr. Turner," she said politely, like I was just a teacher, nothing more. "Hello," I replied. My voice felt heavy. I walked past them, but their voices stayed in my head. "She's not that bad." Why did that bother me? Maybe because it sounded fake. Maybe because she still acted like she didn't know me. Later that week, something else happened. Something small, but it hit me hard. I was grading papers after school. The classroom was quiet. Then I saw one paper. Ava's paper. I stared at her name for a long time. My hand felt tense. I didn't want to grade it, but I had to. I read her answers. Perfect. Every answer correct. Every sentence clean. She was still amazing. For a moment, I remembered the old days. Helping her with homework. Explaining things to her. Watching her smile when she understood. I quickly shook my head. "No," I whispered. "That's over." The next day, I returned the papers. "Ava," I said, placing her paper on her desk. She looked at the grade. 100%. She didn't smile. She just nodded. "Thank you." That was it. No pride, no happiness, just empty. That night, I couldn't stop thinking. Why was she acting like this? Why was she so calm? Did she really forget everything? Or was she pretending? The next week, things became more uncomfortable. The principal called me into his office. "Marcus," he said, smiling, "you're doing a great job." "Thank you," I replied. Then he added something that made my heart drop. "I heard you have a new student, Ava Turner." I froze for a second. "Yes." He nodded. "She's a strong student, very promising." I stayed quiet. Then he said, "Also, I believe she's your sister, right?" My hands tightened. So he knew. "Yes," I said slowly. "Well?" He smiled. "That's interesting. Must be nice." "Nice?" I almost laughed, but I didn't. "Just make sure to stay professional," he added. "Of course," I said. When I left the office, I felt angry. Not at the principal, at the situation, at her, at everything. That same day, after school, Ava stayed behind. I noticed her walking slowly to my desk. My heart started beating faster. "Mr. Turner," she said. I looked up. "Yes?" She hesitated. Then she spoke. "I have a question about the homework." Her voice was calm. Normal, like we were strangers. I explained the homework quickly. She listened carefully. Then she nodded. "Okay, thank you." She turned to leave, but something inside me snapped. "Wait," I said. She stopped, slowly turned around. "What?" she asked. I stood up. My hands were shaking again. I didn't plan this. But the words came out. "Why are you acting like this?" She looked confused. "Like what?" "Like you don't know me." Silence filled the room. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she said something that made my chest burn. "I know you," she said. "You're my teacher." That was it. That was all. I felt anger rise inside me. "That's all?" I said. "That's what I am to you?" Her face stayed calm. "What do you want me to say?" I stepped closer. "I want the truth." She didn't move, didn't react. "There's nothing to say," she replied. My voice got louder. "Yes, there is." She finally showed emotion, a small one, annoyance. "This is not the place," she said quietly. I laughed bitterly. "Of course, you always run away." Her eyes changed for a second. Something sharp, something cold. "I'm not running," she said. "I'm just not interested." Those words hit harder than anything. Not interested. She picked up her bag, walked past me, and before leaving, she said one last thing. "You should move on, Marcus." Then she walked out. Just like before, I stood there alone. My chest felt heavy. My hands were shaking again. Move on? After everything she did? After everything I lost? I looked at the empty classroom, and for the first time in years, I felt like that same broken boy again. But deep inside, something was changing, something stronger than pain, anger. And this time, I wasn't going to stay silent. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday. I remember the sound of the rain hitting the windows. Slow, heavy, like something was about to go wrong. I walked into class, trying to stay calm. But something felt different. The room was quieter than usual. Students were whispering, looking at me, then looking at Ava. My chest tightened. "Good morning," I said. My voice sounded normal, but no one answered. Just silence. I frowned slightly. "Open your books," I added. Still, something felt off. As I turned to write on the board, I heard a voice behind me. She said it was him. My hand stopped. The chalk froze against the board. Another voice whispered, "Yeah, I heard it too." Slowly, I turned around. The class went quiet again. Too quiet. "What's going on?" I asked. No one answered. They just looked at each other. Then, one girl raised her hand. Her name was Rachel. "Mr. Turner, is it true?" My heart dropped. "Is what true?" She hesitated. Then she said it. "That you got in trouble before for stealing?" The room felt like it was spinning. My ears started ringing. "What?" I said softly. Then someone else spoke. "They said you stole money from your own family." A few students nodded. Whispers spread. "No," I said quickly. "That's not true." But my voice, it didn't sound strong. Then I looked at Ava. She was sitting there, quiet, watching. "Ava," I said, my voice shaking now. "Did you say something?" All eyes turned to her. The room held its breath. She didn't answer right away. She just looked at me, long, cold. Then she stood up. "I didn't lie," she said calmly. My heart stopped. "What?" She took a deep breath. Her voice was steady, clear, like she had practiced this. "When we were younger," she said, "money went missing." The class listened closely. "And Marcus was the one who had it." I felt like I couldn't breathe. "That's not true," I said loudly. But she didn't stop. "My parents found the money in his room," she continued, "and after that, he left." The room was silent, but the silence was heavy, full of judgment. I shook my head. No, that's not what happened. But the students were already looking at me differently. Not like a teacher, like something else. Like I was guilty. "You're lying," I said to her. My voice broke. "You know the truth." For a second, just a second, I saw something in her eyes. Something small, something like fear. But then it disappeared. "I told the truth," she replied. That was it. No emotion, no guilt, just cold words. Something inside me shattered, right there, in front of everyone. "Enough," I said. My voice was shaking badly now. "Class is over." "But it's not." "Now!" I shouted. The students quickly packed their things. Whispers filled the room. Eyes avoided mine. Ava stayed still for a moment. Then she slowly picked up her bag. As she walked past me, I whispered, "Why are you doing this?" She stopped. But she didn't look at me. Then she said something that broke me again. "Because this is what everyone already believes." And then she walked away. The door closed behind her. And I stood there, alone. I don't remember how long I stayed in that classroom. Minutes, maybe hours. Time didn't feel real anymore. My mind kept repeating her words. I didn't lie. This is what everyone believes. I sat down slowly. My hands covered my face. And for the first time in years, I cried. Not quiet tears, not hidden ones, real tears, painful, heavy. All this time, I whispered. All this time, and nothing changed. I worked so hard to build a new life, to become someone better, to leave that past behind. But in one moment, she brought it all back, destroyed everything again. Later that day, I was called to the principal's office. I already knew why. "Marcus," he said, his face serious, "I've heard some concerning things." I stayed quiet. I didn't have the energy to fight. "Students are talking," he continued. "There are rumors about your past." "They're not true," I said softly. He sighed. "I want to believe you. But this situation, it's complicated." Of course it was. Because of her. "For now," he said, "I think it's best if you take a few days off." My heart sank. "Are you suspending me?" "No," he said quickly. "Just time to let things calm down." Time. That word felt like punishment. I nodded slowly. "Okay." When I left the office, I felt empty. I walked to my classroom one last time, looked at the desks, the board, the place where I thought I was safe, but it wasn't safe anymore. That night, I sat alone in my apartment. No lights, no sound, just silence. I stared at the wall, thinking about everything, about my parents, about that night, about Ava. "Why?" I whispered. "Why do you hate me so much?" I tried to understand, tried to find a reason, but nothing made sense. Then something else hit me. A thought I didn't want to face. What if she really believed her own lie? What if she convinced herself that I was guilty? That thought hurt even more, because it meant she didn't just betray me. She erased me. Tears fell again, slow, quiet. "I can't do this again," I said. "I won't survive it again." I felt weak, broken, like everything I built was falling apart. But deep inside, very deep, there was a small voice, a different voice. It said, "This time, you don't run." I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. My hands slowly tightened. "No," I whispered, "not this time." Because this time, I had nothing left to lose and everything to prove. I didn't go back to school the next day, or the next. I stayed in my small apartment, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that happened. The silence around me was heavy, but inside my mind, it was louder than ever. Her voice kept coming back. "This is what everyone already believes." I kept repeating it again and again, and every time, it hurt less. Not because the pain disappeared, but because something else was growing over it. Clarity. On the 5th day, I got a message from the principal. "We need to meet." Short, cold, no explanation. I already knew what it meant. When I arrived at school, people looked at me differently. Some avoided me, some whispered. I walked through the hallway like a stranger in my own life. Then I saw her, Ava, standing near the office, waiting, like she already knew I would come. She looked calm, too calm, but this time, I didn't feel broken when I saw her. Something inside me had changed. "Marcus!" the principal said when I entered his office. His voice was serious. "We need to clear this situation today." I nodded. Ava stood beside him, arms folded, face unreadable. He continued, "There are serious rumors about your past, and students are uncomfortable." I stayed quiet. Then I said, "I want everything checked, every record, every claim." The room went silent. Ava finally spoke. "There's nothing to check," she said. "Everyone already knows what happened." I turned to her slowly, but this time, I wasn't shaking. I wasn't afraid. "No," I said calmly. "You think you know what happened." She frowned slightly. "What are you saying?" I took a breath. Then I reached into my bag and placed an old folder on the table. "I kept this," I said, "for years." The principal looked confused. "What is it?" "Bank records," I said. "From that time." Ava's expression changed for the first time. Just a small shift. But I saw it. I continued. "The money that disappeared? It wasn't missing from her bag." I looked directly at her. "It was transferred from a joint account my parents controlled." Silence. Heavy silence. The principal opened the papers. His eyes moved quickly. Ava didn't move. But I could see it now. Her control. Slipping. "I asked for these years ago," I said. "But no one listened to me." The principal looked up slowly. "This shows withdrawals from your father's account." I nodded. "Yes." Then I turned to Ava. "Do you remember that night?" My voice was calm now. No anger, just truth. She didn't answer. "I didn't take anything from your bag," I said. "I never did." Ava's lips tightened. For the first time, she looked unsure. I stepped closer. "You were fighting with Dad that day," I said. "You took the money yourself. You hid it. And when everything got out of control, you blamed me." Her eyes flickered, just for a second. "That's not," she started, but I interrupted. "No more." My voice was firm, not loud, but strong. The room went silent again. Even the principal didn't speak. Ava looked at me now. Really looked at me. And something changed in her face. Not anger, not confidence, but something worse. Regret. "I didn't think," she whispered, then stopped. "You didn't think I would leave," I said. "You didn't think I would survive it." Her eyes dropped. For the first time, she looked small. The principal finally spoke. "Ava, is this true?" She didn't answer right away. The silence stretched, long, painful. Then she nodded, very slowly, one small movement. "Yes," she said quietly. The room felt like it stopped breathing. I didn't smile. I didn't feel victory. I just felt tired. "So it was him," the principal said softly. "No," I replied. "It was never about me." I looked at Ava one last time. "You didn't just lie," I said. "You let me carry it for years." Her eyes filled with tears. But I didn't step closer, not anymore. "I was scared," she said softly. "I didn't know what to do." I nodded slowly. "I know." And that was the truth. Not forgiveness, not hate, just understanding. The principal stood up. "This will be corrected officially," he said. "There will be consequences." Ava lowered her head. She didn't argue. She didn't fight anymore. But I wasn't here for revenge. I wasn't here to destroy her. That version of me died years ago. I turned toward the door, and for a moment I stopped. I didn't look back at her, but I spoke one last time. "I'm not that boy anymore," I said. "Don't turn me into him again." Then I walked out. The hallway felt different this time. Not heavy, not painful, just empty. But it wasn't the same emptiness as before. This one was clean. Outside, the rain had stopped. Sunlight touched the ground for the first time in days. I stood there for a moment, breathing, thinking. Alive. For years, I thought justice would feel like anger, like revenge, like winning. But standing there, I realized something else. Justice doesn't always feel loud. Sometimes, it just feels like finally being free. Weeks later, I left that school. Not because I was forced, but because I chose to. Ava sent a letter. I never opened it. Not because I hated her, but because I didn't need answers anymore. I had already found mine. I moved to a new city. Started over again. But this time, I didn't carry the past like a chain. I carried it like a lesson. People sometimes ask me now, "Do you miss your family?" I always pause before answering. Then I say, "I miss who I was before everything broke." Because that boy, the one who stayed quiet, the one who believed everyone would understand him, he is gone, and in his place is someone stronger. Someone who no longer waits to be believed. Someone who finally understands his own worth. Moral lesson. Sometimes the deepest betrayal doesn't come from enemies, but from family. But even after being broken and misunderstood, you can rebuild yourself. Not by seeking revenge, but by choosing truth, self-respect, and moving forward with strength.